But I got a TV show when I got 5,000 subscribers on YouTube.
You and encourage you to click subscribe wherever you are receiving this content. We give you a brand new episode here on the podcast every single Tuesday for our hashtag Tuesday Ritual. So if you would like to be a part of that, make sure you're subscribed wherever you like to listen. Well, today I'm excited because we are in a series right now of having amazing entrepreneurs on the show that are going deeper into things like how to make money using your brand, personal branding, how to actually do content, and so much more. And today we have none other than my friend Pace Morby. Now, I'll get into a little bit more about what this episode is, but I want to let you know that if you've not yet taken our free YouTube class, then your next step will be to head over to thinkmasterclass.com. Every single one of our episodes is brought to you by one of our classes, and this is a no-miss class. You're going to be learning the secrets to YouTube success, what's working right now on YouTube as more and more people are coming online to grow their brands, grow their businesses with YouTube, and your exact next step for how you can dominate this next year using your influence. So go to thinkmasterclass.com if you have not yet taken that class. Now, today's episode is all about personal branding. We're diving into how an ordinary entrepreneur, actually someone who is kind of scared of getting on camera, has blown up and has created one of the largest creative financing brands on YouTube. None other than Pace Morby is on our show today. Pace is a sub-2 storyteller. He's an entrepreneur, real estate investor, business strategist, and influencer. In 2022, Pace acquired over $32 million worth of asset properties in the United States. He's actually the host of Triple Digit Flip on A&E. He's a real estate investor with over 900 doors, and he has one of the largest creative financing brands to date. He has almost 10 million views on his YouTube channel, and he dives into so much on this podcast that you're going to want to make sure you lean in. We're talking all about how to actually start your personal brand online, what type of team you should build around yourself, and some of the mistakes he sees entrepreneurs making when they come on YouTube. So grab your pen and paper or your notes app on your iPhone, and let's jump into today's featured conversation.
Loved that human touch that came through in a really natural way with Agent Force. That alone sold me on it.
Where Agent Force is the game changer and the big difference for us is the fact that it works 24/7. Having that seamless connection between the human and having Agent Force in the background of that human is really a win-win.
Agent Force is embedded into the toolkit that our reps are already using. When you've had that magical moment, when you actually get AI to really augment what you're already good at, it really makes you the best version of yourself. Do you feel empowered and that you're able to do more?
Hey everyone, thanks for joining today's live event all about HR's best benefits, smarter employee support with Agent Force. I'm your host, Diane Mizota, along with a couple of Agent Force All-Stars, Julian Walker, Senior Director, Product Marketing, and Sharon Sunny, Senior Director, Product Management. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you, so happy to be here.
Yes, thanks for joining us. Well, we're coming to you from Salesforce headquarters in San Francisco, the home of Agent Force. And over the next hour, you'll learn how to make HR support support easier for everyone with Agentforce. Here's what's coming up. We're going to kick things off with a product announcement that will transform HR for everyone at your organization. We've got expert insights plus 2 live demos showcasing how Agentforce supports the HR service experience for employees and HR teams. You'll hear how Salesforce uses Agentforce for HR service to improve its own employee support journey. And we know you'll have questions, so go ahead and post them in the chat. Experts are standing by to answer them. All right, let's dive in. Julian Walker, you're going to kick things off. What's the big announcement today?
We have a big announcement, you're right. And I feel like we just have to get right to it, right? So I'll just have to say I'm happy to be here today because we are announcing something big for all of you in HR here today. And we're introducing Agentforce for HR service. This is a completely new approach to employee support. We're bringing together AI agents right into the flow of work so you can support your employees even better. So what does this mean for your employees? It means they can simply have a conversation with Agentforce right in Slack, right in their employee portal to get their support needs met. And I'll give you an example. Agentforce is going to help your employees do things like
Into today's featured conversation. Pace, I am beyond excited to have you on
I'm
the
way
Video
more
podcast.
excited. I thought I was going to have Sean Cannell on here, and I'm so glad it's Heather so much. I love you so much more. I mean, Sean's cool, but you're freaking way better. So good to see you.
This is literally why I wanted to have you on. You're like, you want to talk about like hype person? Like, can I just have you always around me all the time?
I'm that guy. I'm that
for
guy.
all the things. Pace, you are an extraordinary entrepreneur. I'm excited to have you on the podcast today. We're going to dive into personal brand because I know that this is something you personally have been developing over the last several years. And I think you bring so much value to this conversation, especially for other entrepreneurs that are like you in all different industries. You happen to be dominating in the real estate investment space and really growing companies that way, even into, modern day television. You are a star on an A&E show. And so you're really, I think you have mastered the personal brand when it comes to the things that people really strive for. But I want to pull this back a little bit and really talk about the person, Pace Morby. How did you even get into developing a personal brand? I know that you had been, working in the real estate space before, flipping homes and, picking up a camera and starting to share your life. What was that like? Walk me through that journey.
I think I struggle just as much as anybody else in that realm, by the way, because I grew up blue collar, and a lot of your most people grow up blue collar, like their parents are hardworking, maybe their dad or their mom are in the trades. And you grow up never wanting to be on camera because you don't want the highlight on you. And you're like, I don't want anybody ever think that I think I'm better than anybody else. And you start creating this like imposter syndrome. I'm afraid of looking like I'm a big shot. Right? Because you come from a town and your friends are like, oh, you think you're better than us, or you think this. My wife, I remember, we went to New Mexico. We're around her family, and her family hears that she gets her real estate license, right? That just takes 3 weeks and like $1,200. It's not like she got a doctorate, right? That took like 12 years. And one of her cousins says, oh, you think you're better than us now? Right? It's like that. I came from that atmosphere. And so for me, overcoming that was really challenging. And I'm sure you have a lot of audience members that are like, oh my gosh, turning the camera on me. I don't want, what people are going to think of me and all that kind of stuff. Guys, everybody deals with that. I promise. So I had that too. But what I realized is that I had a lot of fun doing it. So I picked up Instagram. My first Instagram post was literally, you can go back all the way through my Instagram post. And I just looked at Instagram as a journal of my day. That was it. I was like, wow, I don't like taking photos and uploading them to a computer, but Instagram has this really cool way of just harnessing your photos, and I can go back and look at them, or it reminds you of something you posted a year ago. And so I started looking at a journal as a journal. Mm-hmm. And at the time I was a contractor. Surprise, surprise. I grew up in a blue collar contractor house, and I became a blue collar contractor. And I started using before and after photos of like backsplashes and kitchens and stuff like that. And all of a sudden my business started popping off, and I had no idea why. And then people would say, well, yeah, I saw your thing on Instagram. I'm like, what? what? I'm like using this thing as a journal to just document my story. And because it wasn't intentional for me to like go out and use it as a marketing mechanism, I don't think I overthought it. I just did it because it was fun, and it showed up on my Instagram that way, and it conveyed that way. And so people wanted to do business with me in some weird way. I didn't have to ever overthink it. But if I was intending to go create a personal brand, I would have overthought it. I could tell you that 100 times.
Yeah. So you started posting those before and after photos, which, I mean, coming from a marketer standpoint, I'm like, genius. That's exactly what you should do. It shouldn't be about the food you're eating. It should be about the product you're selling, right? So you did that just out of intuition. Walk me through what that looked like from now you're taking photos on Instagram to now, Pace, you have a YouTube channel with over 8 million views. It's the #1 YouTube channel right now for creative finance. And you really are establishing yourself as an industry go-to because of the personal brand that you built. So walk me through the stage of I'm posting photos to I've now built this YouTube studio. I'm creating content all the time. What was that journey like?
That journey was a couple of years, and I can tell you, Think Media was a huge part of it. This is why, like I'm a huge fan of both of you guys. And I told you this in front of Sean Cannell when I first met you. I go, look, Sean's cool, but Heather's way cooler. Just FYI. But you guys were a big part of that journey for me. Because nobody does what you guys do on YouTube, where you're like, yo, let's get you a personal brand. Let's use video and YouTube as a way to leverage your way into it. I went the wrong way. I went Instagram, Facebook, and other things before I started YouTube. And when I realized, and this is something Sean Cannell said on your guys' channel a couple of years ago, he said, YouTube is a search engine. And it's really the only thing that's evergreen. Somebody's going to Google, how to get started in real estate. It's not going to pull up an Instagram post you did 4 years ago, but it will pull up a YouTube video you did 10 years ago, right? So for me, when I started posting, I got a phone call from a company. This is now 10 years ago, okay? My personal brand didn't really kick in until I'd say 5 years ago. And it was just me making mistakes for a long time and not even being intentional about it. But I got a call from a company called Open Door. Open Door is a massive real estate investment company, and they hired me as a contractor to do their renovations. And they found me on Instagram. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's something to this. In 2015, do you mind if I brag a little bit? Because
I'm here for it.
In 2015, I made my first $1 million take home, like $1 million. And I was like, I literally did that because of Instagram. Holy moly. Like I didn't have to spend any ad dollars. I didn't have to go out and hobnob and schmooze and do all the things and network. I literally just used personal brand. And at that point, I was like, double down. So I started posting more intentionally. I started telling more stories. And the stories I really thought about were, stories I wanted to tell so I could genuinely attract my own tribe instead of trying to attract people that I didn't want in my world. Somebody told me, they said, your vibe attracts your tribe. And so I was very intentional. Like, I just want to put my vibe out there, be authentically who I am, because then it brings the people who are very similar to me, right? Like married men, married couples, people with kids, that's my tribe. People that genuinely want to have a family. And, there's single people here. I'm not alienating you, but it's like, those are things that are important. The family was really important to me. It still is, obviously. But I wanted to attract those people. So I started telling more stories about my kids, telling more stories about trips I was going on. And then I started telling stories about my workers and their families. And people fell in love with my business because they looked at it like a sitcom with additional characters. And all of a sudden, it was just like, it went crazy. I had Open Door as a client, then I got Zillow as a client, and then I got OfferPad as a client. And I was like, oh my gosh, my business was just blowing up. Then I saw on Think Media that YouTube was like the way to go. So I got intentional about YouTube, and I don't even want to like go into this, but I will go into it. But I got a TV show when I got 5,000 subscribers on YouTube.
It's incredible.
Like people think you have to go get a TV show. My paycheck says Disney on it, right? Which is, I'm on Disney's payroll because I had 5,000 subscribers and I was just telling a story about my business. And that all just transpired without me really having a ton of intention behind it, other than I just want to tell stories about what I'm doing and see if it can pull people into my businesses. You guys helped me through the YouTube journey. Like we've done your guys' trainings. I even have hired some people on your team to do some one-on-ones with people on my team, which has been epic and amazing. And for me, I realized like if I could go back in a time machine, I would have started YouTube way earlier. YouTube is way more important in my opinion than anything else, because like TikTok, very surface level, Instagram, very surface level, Facebook, a little bit, maybe a little bit deeper, but YouTube, oh my gosh, that's where people marry you. They marry your brand. They like really get into your world. And I sure as heck wish I started YouTube like 3 years prior. I would have made millions and millions and millions of dollars more if I had just started YouTube faster.
Work out.
Work that. Push that. Pull that.
Faster.
Wow, that's incredible. And you are speaking my language too, because to me, when I think about all the time we could spend on all the different platforms, I'm like, I want to be on the one that's going to give me the best return on my investment. And really, YouTube is that. Yes, I think you should do video everywhere, right? Gary Vee just spoke at our conference and he was like, it's not or, it's and. But I think if you're going to invest your time and really serve people on a deeper level, YouTube is where you can do that. Now, I want to go into, you've talked in the past about some of your tips when it comes to developing out your personal brand. And one of the things that I just so admire about what you do, Pace, is that you really are for the audience. And when I'm coaching different content creators, when I'm seeing different people out there, I'm like, man, your content is so selfish, right? It's all about you. And that's different than telling a story, but it really is serving you as the content creator. And one of the tips that you have is to actually be selfless and care about everyone. Can you talk about what go-giverness means?
Yeah, the book I have right here, sitting on my table is The Go-Giver by Bob, good old Bob. Amazing book. If you guys have not read The Go-Giver, I'm a Pisces, so I naturally just want to solve everybody's problems all the time. It's just something I guess I was born with. So when you tell me a problem, I immediately forget about all my problems and all I want to do is solve your problem. So it's kind of an addiction for me. So being a go-giver, here's what happens when you just give and give and give and give. Gary Vee talks about this all the time. People want to do business with you, right? It cuts away all the crap. Like, we have all seen the people, or at least in my real estate world, there's so many influencers that are just out to like sell a course. Whereas if you're giving and giving and giving to people, like right now, I'm doing a 2-week free challenge with people, 4 hours every day, where I'm just solving their problems, calling their sellers, locking up deals for them, and doing things for their real estate business that are students of mine, yes. Non-students of mine, yes. People have never even gotten into real estate, yes. And just giving that time frame to them. This lady, Laura Smith, comes in today. This just happened less than an hour ago as we were wrapping up the 4-hour challenge we did today. And she says, Paige, you've never met me, but I've paid for course after course after course, and nobody has cared about me as an individual as you have, and I have never paid you a penny. And I said, great. Like if everybody could say that about me and I could die, then I could die happy. Like that's all I really, really want. I just want to change people's lives. And where that comes from is, yes, I'm a Pisces, but also when I was starting out, I felt like I was lost and I didn't have a path to follow. And I felt like if I just had somebody grab me by the hand and tell me, take this step next, and then take this step next. And yes, you're still on the path. And yes, everything's fine. And here's the light. Here's where to look in the dark corners. I would have been so much further ahead. And so I became obsessed with doing that for other people, whether it's paid or free. And that actually is what got us the TV show. What got us the TV show is I did a YouTube video talking about not competing with people in your local market, but collaborating with your fellow competitors. And A&E picked that up on a YouTube video, and they're like, this is what TV needs. This is what everybody in the world needs, is less competition, way more collaboration. And we ended up getting a TV show from having that exact spirit in our videos.
That's just amazing to me because, when you think about personal brand, you're thinking, okay, I need to grow me. But actually, what it is, it's about being selfless, and it's about sharing as much as you can, right? Moving the free line is what we talk about here at Think Media, and just really trying to help people. If you're just out there to really help, that's where you can really start to see the reciprocity in that, here at Think Media too, we say we were on a goal to get 10,000 people to be full time. And we were talking to someone who's an industry expert, and we told him that's our goal. And they're like, "Oh, you've already done that." Like,
I was just thinking,
content.
there's no way you haven't done that.
Yeah. And we were like, yeah, because to us, we just want to give away as much as we can to help people move forward. So I love that is.
I love that line you just laid, moving the free line. Mm-hmm. I don't think a lot of people will understand that entirely. Like in my line of work, like in the real estate world, people have these free lead gen things and, sign up for this and sign up for that. And it seems free. And then immediately they're like punching people in the face with some $10,000 thing. Mm-hmm. In fact, there's people in my industry that are charging $60,000 to $100,000 for like real estate education. Mm-hmm. And their education is not even 1/10 of what I give away for free. Mm-hmm. That's what you mean by pushing the free line. It's like, how do you guys define that? You're just trying to change the industry as a whole of saying all of this stuff should be free. Mm-hmm. There should be this line shouldn't be here. It should be way, way over here and giving way more than what people expect. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. And, even into our paid programs, into our coaching, that becomes more personalized. We're taking you from like point A all the way to point Z and having it in that order with multiple things that you need. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to buy a course that's going to teach me how to do something, which it should. But when you are going into changing your life, you have to change your mindset. And so a lot of times people don't even realize that when you are in Think Media's world, a lot of things we're teaching you on YouTube is the how to do it. Like you need this camera and this thing and this thing, but then you've got it all set up and you're not pressing record. Why? Well, that's when you go deeper with us, and I can really help you overcome limiting beliefs that you have, right? And so it's that idea of move the free line to the point where if someone got massive success without ever paying you, you'd be happy. And that's what I want, because I believe that when you do that, especially in your personal brand, it's your reputation. And I don't want to be known as someone who won't help you. I want to be known as someone that you can always go to get help.
Is it weird to say that you and Sean Cannell are one of the reasons why I have a TV show?
I mean, I will take a cut if that's what you're offering.
No, you don't want to cut off that paycheck. That paycheck is a joke. But you genuinely, there's so many times where you guys have done videos talking about the mindset of pressing record. And so, if you don't mind, I'd love to tell a little story.
I'm here for stories. You are an absolute amazing storyteller. So go ahead, Pace.
Okay, cool. So one of my biggest heroes, his name is Robert G. Allen, and he wrote a book back in the 80s called Nothing Down, meaning he taught people through a book how to buy houses with no down payment. Okay, cool. That's not what the story's about. But what happened is he releases this book. It gets critical acclaim. People are super happy about it. And the LA Times, this is like 1987.
Starting your own membership can feel like a big step. And to tap into the predictable revenue that memberships give you, you need a platform that lets you run it the right way. Uscreen is the best all-in-one platform to help you build a stable, scalable membership business around your content. From day one, you'll get flexible monetization tools to earn from subscriptions and one-time purchases across web, mobile, and TV, along with complete control of getting your content in front of your audience. With sleek live streaming capabilities that are shown to boost monthly revenue by 2.5 times. And did I mention robust marketing tools to retain and nurture your members? Or that we're the only platform that effortlessly combines your video content and community? But don't just take our word for it. Justin Rhodes launched his membership with apps and doubled his revenue.
I went from $30,000 to $50,000 a month to over $100,000 a month with the launch with Uscreen.
And find what feels good, who doubled their views after launching apps, putting them on track for their best revenue year ever. With Uscreen, you get the tools you need all in one place to earn the stable, recurring revenue you crave. Start your membership journey with Uscreen today.
If you can any song in the world in seconds, you should be able to sign up for insurance in seconds. It's about time insurance does that. Get a quote at lemonade.com.
7. Okay. LA Times runs an article that says this guy's a fraud and we're calling him out and there's no way that this guy can do this. Okay. So Robert G. Allen's publicist then says, Robert, I think you stay away from this. I don't think we do anything about it. Just leave it alone. And Robert G. Allen says, no, I want to accept their challenge and I want to make it public. So he accepts their challenge. And here's what their challenge was. Their challenge was, we will give you 72 hours to go to a city of our choice with $100 in your pocket for food and hotel, basically live in the frickin' streets, and you show us how you're going to go buy a house with nothing down. Okay. I'm like, dang, really? Like, that's pretty amazing for you to take that challenge on. So here's what he does. He flies into LA, which is obviously where the LA Times is. They couple him with a reporter. They drive him to the airport. They fly right when he's loading the plane. He goes, oh, wow, we're going to San Francisco, California. Holy moly. So they fly him and the reporter to San Francisco. They drive to downtown and they drop him off in downtown San Francisco. Here's your $100. Go to work. Reporter's standing there like, oh, I can't freaking wait for you to fail. This is so great. So he goes over to a hot dog stand, buys a hot dog and a soda, gets basically $99 back, but he asks for a roll of dimes because this is back when dropping a dime was literal, right? You're dropping a dime. So he goes over to a payphone, opens up the yellow pages, and he starts calling local real estate agents. Just starts cold calling. All right, cool. I guess this is what's going on, the reporter's thinking. So Robert bleeds through $10 really fast, makes 100 calls, and he gets a little bit of traction. Like real estate agents, like, I don't have anything now, but I'll let you know, blah, 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 blah. So Robert goes, holy moly, I'm going through money and it's starting to get dark. I better head to a hotel. So he heads to a hotel. They find something in like the cheap part of town, $17 a night. He makes the reporter pay for the other half of it. So he's, both are $850 out of pocket. And so what does he start using is the telephone inside the hotel. And he's like, holy crap, I should have used this way faster, way sooner. I wouldn't have gone through my $10. So he's making calls. He gets a return call at 9:30 at night from a real estate agent, says, hey, I got your message, Robert, that said, hey, you're new in town and you're looking to buy a piece of property for nothing down. And I actually have a seller that will sell you 2 properties with nothing down tomorrow. Come meet us over at his house. The reporter is like laughing at this point because he's laying in the bed next to Robert and he says, hey, dude, there's no way you didn't use some sort of code or you called somebody and you used words to like entice this thing going on. There's no way you're not lying about this. There's no way this is happening. So Robert goes, all right, well, we'll see tomorrow. So they go to the appointment, they meet the seller and the agent. Sure enough, he buys 2 houses with nothing down from an agent and a seller. The reporter goes through a 30-minute interview and he's like, are you real? Do you know Robert G. Allen? They go through all the things and he goes, sure enough, dude, holy crap, you did this. You just bought 2 houses in like 20 hours with nothing down. This is insane. I guess let's go. Let's go back to LA. I'm ready to write the article. This was crazy. And Robert says, I still have 54 hours. And he goes and buys 5 more pieces of real estate with nothing down in 72 hours.
Wow.
Okay, there's a point to this. And here's what happens. He buys 7 houses with nothing down in 72 hours with $100 in his pocket with a reporter by his side to prove that this is possible, to do all these things and show people this is exactly how to do it, step by step by step by step. So they go back to LA. He writes a report. It goes up in the LA Times nationwide, and it says, real estate investor takes on the LA Times and wins. And Robert G. Allen becomes this second most popular person in the entire mindset, business opportunity space behind Tony Robbins.
Wow.
He then goes around the country and the world for 26 years, Heather, 26 years teaching people how to do this. Okay. About 5 years into this journey, somebody claims, they go, there's no way anybody else can do this. You did that in that book, and you did that in the LA Times thing because you are Robert G. Allen. You are special. And so Robert G. Allen says, all right, I'm going to go write another book. So he goes to write another book. It's called The Challenge, where what he does is he goes to St. Louis and he pulls 5 people out of the unemployment line. This is a real story.
Wow.
And he turns them into real estate investors in 30 days. They all have $50,000 in their pocket at the end of 90 days, never to see the unemployment line ever again. Okay.
Wow.
So he continues his journey, right? That's 5 years into his 26-year travel around the world. And after 26 years, finally, he comes into my world, comes into my orbit. I land a TV show, and we're set to start filming about a week later. And I get a call from a guy, his name is Tim. And Tim runs a mastermind. It's all about educators being better educators. And he goes, Pace, I really need you to come and speak on stage about what you're doing with your people and how you're providing so much value for free all the time. And I go, no, I can't, Tim. We're starting filming for season 1. It's like the first day of school. I've already got my outfit picked out. My backpack is brand new. I got my lunchbox. Dude, I'm freaking geared up and ready to film a TV show. And he goes, well, just in case, here's the link to the site so you can see the address, the dates, and you can see who's speaking.
Grow smiles all season with award-winning plants from proven winners. Their plants are specifically chosen for their stellar garden performance. Proven winners' amazing annuals make it easy to beautify your space with confidence. Look for them in their white branded containers or ask for them by name.
The dates, and you can see who's speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, Heather, I freaking click on this link. Who's speaking at this event?
He is.
Robert G. Allen.
Yeah.
So I called Jamil, who's my co-star on the TV show. I go, bro, we're calling in sick on the first day of school. I'm telling you, we are going to Key West, Florida. I have to meet this guy. So we call A&E. We call in sick for our first day of filming. We push it back a week so I can go and meet my hero, Robert G. Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I'm sorry, not he says, but we fly in there and I get to the event and I'm looking around for Robert G. Allen. I'm looking around. And I then go out in the hallway and I can see his back turned to me and I know it's him because I've been a hero of mine for 20 something years.
Mm-hmm.
And I go up to him and I tap him on the shoulder and he turns around, I reach my hand out and I go, Mr. Allen. And he turns around and he says, Mr. Morby.
Yeah.
Wow, what? Right? So like my hero, I meet my hero and we get into this really in-depth conversation and I said, wow, you know who I am? And he said, you are doing what I wish I did when I started. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he went into this whole story, Heather. This ties back into what you brought up. He says, I taught around the world for 26 years. Millions and millions of people heard me from stage, on TV, every medium you can imagine. And I found out that 99% of people fail, not because of the strategies, the tactics, the how. They fail because of their mindset and their inability to, what you just said, just press record.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I now have a dedicated mission to solve that 1%, that remaining like little bit that really will make everything else work for everybody. It's the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what, you give everything away for free, for the how, the strategics, the tactical, the tangible. Get this camera, turn it this way, get this light, turn it on this thing, do all those kind of things. But what I love about you guys is like a lot of the things that my team has learned from you, because I have a handful of people on our media team. Our team has solved a lot of their mindset issues because of what you guys have provided to our team as well. And so think about that. A man that traveled around the world for 26 years, that took on the biggest challenges, and the LA Times took him 26 years to figure out what you guys are focusing on right now in your business, is solving people's mindset problems.
Wow, that's incredible. And you know what, when I think about just even personal brand in general, people are scared to even just put themselves out there. Like,
why is that?
Scared.
Why is that?
Really good question, Pace. I would think one of the things I think is because, especially when I think about our generation and generations before that, when you think about like maybe your dad had a video camera and he would video at like Thanksgiving or Christmas. It was the giant thing, or maybe on a family vacation, but it wasn't as accessible as it is right now. And you were able to, I would think, have more of a private life, and people are scared to put their private life out on the internet. And my thing is, your personal brand doesn't actually have to be, you can only share what you want to share. You don't actually have to share everything. And what I think that you do so well is that, I feel like I know you because you share elements of your life, but I don't know the intricacies of your family. I don't know, I know your daughter's name, but I don't know her personality on a, like an auntie level. Like there's these pieces of it. And so I feel like people think, well, if I have to start sharing my personal brand, one, I think they actually might not be as good as they claim to be. So they're scared that they actually don't know what they're talking about. And two, they're afraid to actually put themselves out there because we've grown up always being judged. We've grown up, high school had its cliques. And there's just, even like you said with your wife, there's those pieces of elements of, well, do I think I'm better than other people? Am I trying to put myself out there in a way that seems prideful? I know, I come from a faith-based background, and I know in the church specifically, it's like, no, humble yourself, don't raise yourself. And it's like, actually, I'm raising for the kingdom. I'm a woman of faith, and I'm raising this for to bring light into the world and not darkness. And so I think that people really struggle with those things, and they've not actually been presented with how to grow. Like, how do you do this? How do you grow it? And I think that's one of the things that you do so well is you just give it away. You just
I love what you said, and I think part of that too is like there are people that have this imposter syndrome, where they're like, well, I don't have all the knowledge, right? I don't have all the things. I just know a little bit about what I'm talking about. And I would argue with them, when people walk into a library, they don't need all the library. They need one chapter of one book right now.
Really good. Wow.
And as long as you're only one chapter ahead of one other person, you have a tremendous amount of value for them. And the one thing that I show people is this. I don't know if I can screen share in here, can I?
You can, yeah. But
I
walk
love
through it
StreamYard,
for
by
the
the way.
audio crowd. Yeah, you can share screen and then walk through it for the audio crowd.
Okay, cool. So here's what we're looking at. If it will, did it pop up for you?
I trusted you. I trusted you. I trusted you. I trusted you.
Zen nicotine pouches deliver nicotine satisfaction anywhere, anytime. It pairs well with your confidence, your adventurous spirit, and your curious side. Zen pairs well with you. Find your Zen. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
So YouTube, if you're watching over on YouTube, podcast listeners, you can see what Praise has up, but we'll walk you through this vocally as well.
So there's two lines, basically. The first line is called the observe line, and it's multiple squares that over time, those squares do not grow. They stay at the same exact level for basically there's 10 of them. And then there's the practice line where as you practice and you do the thing, those squares grow. It's like a bar graph, right? That grows like stairs. And so I look at this and a picture paints 1,000 words. Mm-hmm. And I look at this and I'm like, man, what people need more than anything is just that next step. Mm-hmm. They don't need the whole library of knowledge. They just need the next step. So when people think about like, well, I'm not the hot shot and I'm not the person that knows all the answers and I'm not the this and I'm not the that. Okay, but you did figure out one step more than the person that's right behind you. And if you truly have a community mindset, you need to be turning around and not leaving those people in the dust. Your content should be allowing them to get into chapter 1 of their own life. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's where I overcame that fear of my own is like, I'm not talking to the person that is a billionaire. I'm talking to the person that's sitting there. And I'm telling you, Heather, you know this as well as I do. The majority of people, 90% of people are sitting there saying, I need something more. Mm-hmm. And I wish somebody would highlight the path that I should walk on. And so guys, is it, if there's a dark path, right? You're think about this. There's a dark path. You're in the middle of the wilderness. You don't know, the path is there, right? Just like Heather's saying, turn on your camera. Content's going to bring you money. Content's going to bring you business opportunities. Content's going to do all these things for you. It's like, okay, I know the path is there. But if somebody is so good in giving you high level instruction, typically that means that somebody's standing at the end of the path with a flashlight and it's so far away from you that it's dim. Are you going to follow down that pathway? No, because I don't know how to get from you or from myself to where that dim light is. But if somebody's standing right in front of you, that light is so dang bright and they just go, here, follow me. It's better for you. It's actually better for you and better for your audience for you not to be light years ahead of them. Mm-hmm. It's better for you to be just one step ahead of them or one chapter ahead of them. And once I realized that to be a true statement, oh my gosh, it lit my passion on fire because now I knew who I was speaking to. I was speaking to an earlier, younger, more naive version of myself.
So good. The way I like to put that into words is I tell people, because that expert piece is like the piece that holds people back when they're developing their personal brand. And I say, I want you to develop yourself as a leader. A leader can still mess up. A leader still is developing. A leader is still someone who is moving forward, but they are leading people. And so if you can just say, actually, instead of saying I'm the expert of this, I'm just leading myself in learning this, and I want to bring you along the journey. Or can you be a mentor? Can you be a best friend? In my homeschool content, I'm not a homeschool expert. I've just read all the books and done all the blogs and homeschooled my kids for 7.5 years. So I have and it's not an expert, but it's just like, I'm just a mentor along the journey to the moms and dads who are just a step behind trying to figure this thing out. How do I do this with work and family? And my kids are different and my kids are all different ages and all of those things. So I love how you said you don't have to be an expert. You just need to teach someone the next chapter. One of the things I think you do so well too in your content and advice you give to other people who are getting into the space of developing personal brand is the idea that the more real that you are, the stronger your content is. I want to talk about this a little bit because this is the part where I always say I want to take like a hammer to people's perfection and be like, you don't have to be perfect. I want to just like, no, the realness, the experiences, the embarrassments, that actually is the connection that people have. Have you experienced that in your content?
Yeah, I had an editor on my team when I first started hiring people for my team, and my content started making money. I was like, oh, dang, I can hire people. So I hired an editor, and he would cut out all my hims and my haws and my pauses and my all that kind of stuff. And I was like, what's going on with my content? Actually, it wasn't me. It was somebody reached out to me, and they were like, dude, what happened to the life of your videos? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know. And I went back and I watched it. I go, holy crap, like I'm not even myself right now. I pause, I stutter, I screw up my words. I have to backtrack and correct the things that I'm saying. And for me, I was lucky to see that in my journey, is that the perfect thing that my editor was going for actually took the life out of my videos. Wow. And it didn't show who I really was. And so I'm glad I learned that early on. And now when I have editors, I'm like, do not over edit my videos. I'd rather it be a little bit longer than us trying to shoot for some perfect model. The perfect model is my genuine self.
Running a creator business is overwhelming. Constant content creation, community management, juggling of platforms, and unpredictable income. There has to be an easier way to monetize through memberships. Enter Uscreen. Hands down, the best all-in-one membership platform designed specifically for video creators. We help you generate consistent subscription revenue without losing your mind, with powerful monetization features, easy distribution across devices with a branded membership site and apps, sleek video organization and streaming capabilities, and community tools built to engage and retain more customers. Uscreen gives you the power to connect with your audience like never before, and the VIP treatment from our team of experts on hand to help you every step of the way. To make consistent, reliable revenue while keeping full control of the brand and business you've worked so hard to build. Start your membership journey with Uscreen today.
Look at
someone and think, how do they handle everything so well? Why don't things seem to affect them in the same way they affect me? It's easy to believe that people are born stronger, more resilient, or have something that you don't. But that's not actually true. Most of the time, these people have learned skills. They had relationships that supported them, experiences that helped them grow, or skills that got them through difficult times. They weren't just born with emotional regulation. They built it. And the best part is, you can build it too. Resilience isn't something that you have or don't have. It's something that you learn. You can develop emotional skills, just like learning a new language or training a muscle. And therapy is one of the best places to do that. BetterHelp makes it really simple to get started. You can find someone that can teach you skills to get your emotions under control and start feeling like you're living a life worth living.
Wow. And I think one of the reasons, Pace, just from watching your content, also, I am a Pace Morby fan. We put Pace Morby up on our TV. You're part of our homeschool curriculum, Pace, because we're learning about real estate.
I feel bad because you guys watched that podcast and I cussed on that podcast and I found out later that your kid, I was like, no.
It's all right. My kids are okay. I think one of the things I love is it really just feels like there's a camera in your office. Like we're hanging out with Pace Morby in his office while he's talking to people on consultations, talking to sellers. And to me, that is the realness. And like you said, the embarrassing things. Like I think it's fun when you compare what you do for TV versus what you can do for YouTube. I'm sure there's a difference in how you're able to present yourself on camera. Is that correct?
Yeah, let's get real here because nobody from A&E is going to watch this. So let's hope not. What's funny is like my 4-hour live, my boss, his name is Brad. He's like the head of the network at A&E. He comes into my Zooms to like learn how to comp and stuff because it actually helps him produce better television, which is great.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll watch this. Who knows? But if you gave me an opportunity to be on TV or on YouTube and I could only choose one, which one am I choosing?
I hope YouTube.
It's not even a question. It's not even close to a question. In fact, I have learned certain things from doing TV about like their production and behind the scenes and stuff like that to be a little bit more efficient. But to be honest with you, I look at not only the trend, but the ability for me to be exactly who I am on YouTube. Whereas on TV, they're trying to create this perfect model of me. And it's like this cardboard cutout. And it's like, I watch the show and I go, that's not entirely who I am. It's like you guys are trying to tell a story that's not exactly who I am. So YouTube also has the ability to reach the masses. People are kind of going away from cable and all that kind of stuff. I get to do exactly what I want. I get to talk about what I want, and I get to create opportunities for myself. If I broke down what my business was and what I make on YouTube, people, I'd be happy to get into that if we ever had any time to do that, or maybe we do another episode. You would be flabbergasted at how powerful YouTube really is. Mm-hmm. The views are one thing. It's like the views are great. And people are like, oh, how many views do I need to have to be able to make enough money on it? I'm like, if you only knew what really goes on behind YouTube, you would be blown away. So all day long, YouTube is where it's at. I get to be myself. I get to attract my authentic audience. And in that, I know this is not the question you asked, but I know we have condensed time, so I want to give your audience things that I wish I knew. I look at people like Graham Stephan, Andre Jick, Meet Kevin, people in my real estate space that have 3, 4, 5 million subscribers on YouTube. And I'm like, man, when I don't want to start YouTube because 1 million, 2 million, 3 million subscribers, man, that's going to take me so long. Guys, first and foremost, I make so much money from YouTube when I was at 20,000 subscribers. And how do I make money? People send me real estate deals. People send me affiliate type of thing, opportunities. I do brand deals, right? Mm-hmm. There's so many things in that. People have given me ownership in businesses because I have a 20,000 person YouTube channel. It's 4 times, 5 times bigger than that now. But even at that level, there is millions of dollars in real estate, or not real estate, but in YouTube, if you just be your freaking self and turn on the camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we teach the iceberg effect. I love that we have so many similar pieces. And I'm like, yes, because you're real, Pace, and you're really doing this. And I love bringing real, authentic creators who are in this space, and for us it's the iceberg. We're like, YouTube's just the top of the entire iceberg that's underneath. Like all you see on the surface is this, but underneath, that is why personal brand matters. That's why going all in, Jay-Z has the quote, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man." And that to me is like, that's what I want people to see for 2022 and beyond, is that your brand, you, the person creating the content, is going to be so much more valuable as you just keep going, as you keep going. And actually point number 4 is actually commit to it. And this is something I wanted to really lean into, especially with you, Pace, because when I look at, you did this video, because again, do you have like I'm not in the sub 2, but do you have like a YouTube name? Are they like the Morbies, or like, what's the name of like the YouTube community? That's what I'm in. Anyways, side note, but
they're my homies. That's what
you're
it is.
homie. Okay, I'm a homie, guys. I get to be a homie. I feel honored. Okay, but when you did this one where you broke down your businesses, and I thought, man, if there's one thing I want to make sure that Pace gets to talk about on this podcast, because you are a man that has literally like so many businesses. You're pulled in so many different directions. You're running a TV show. You're running multi-million-dollar deals. You're doing all these things, but you're committed to doing this, and you've stayed committed to doing this. Can you just speak a little bit to the person who feels like, I don't even like to say this, but I'll say it, they're quote unquote too busy? Because I don't think anyone's too busy. I think it's where you put your priorities and your commitments, right? But for the person that has that mindset still, I don't know when I'm going to be able to do this. How am I going to be able to make this happen? My life's already crazy. I've got the kids and the bills and the business and all those things. How do you commit to this? And why are you committing to this for the long haul?
Work out. Work that. Push that. Pull that. Run that. Pump that. Work that. Push that. Work out, work out, work out.
Libre the original eau de parfum and l'ONU, the new alcohol-free citrus floral fragrance, Yves Saint Laurent.
At Macy's, the fragrance destination.
The audio.
Sorry, audio listeners. You guys are going to be like, this was our worst guest. We hate this guy. He didn't help us out at all.
No, if you like this, while Pace is getting that up, make sure you comment down below. Tell me your aha moment so far that Pace has given you in this episode if you're watching on YouTube, and leave a review over on Apple Podcasts and let us know if you liked this episode from Pace. All right, we've got the visual up, Pace. Walk us through. I love this visual. Walk us through what we're seeing.
This strikes fear in so many people's minds. So essentially what it is there's an image that says, this might seem scary. And it's basically a set of stairs, a flight of stairs. And it's showing, taking that first step might seem scary, right? That's the thing that most people are afraid of. But what is actually scary is the image below it, which is now 2 flights of stairs showing you on step 1 today, and then in a year from now, still on step 1. Mm-hmm. That truly is the biggest fear that I have, is not reaching my biggest potential. And I tell people all the time, my biggest thing is I don't mind problems. I mind the same problems month in and month out. Mm. In fact, I'm on a search to go find the next set of problems. So when I first started, it was like pressing the record button. Oh my gosh. Think about this, okay? This is a weird thing, and I know we're limited. How much time do you guys usually do these?
I have 8 more minutes to my next.
She has 8 more minutes. This whole story is going to take 19 minutes, guys, so bear it down. So I tell this story to people that are like, oh, I'm afraid of this or I'm afraid of that. And I go, okay, imagine this. You're on your deathbed, and you're about to die. You've got all these people around you. It's a hospital, and you basically have like 30 seconds. You can see your heart monitor going down and down and down and down, and you're about to pass away. You've got your kids, you got your loved ones around, you got the people that worked with you, everybody that you love is around. And in comes somebody wearing all black, kind of an ominous figure. He's kind of a faceless figure. They come in and they go, hey, Pace, hey, Heather, I have this little vial of liquid that I will let you drink, and it will give you 1 day of your life back. Just 1 day of your life back. How much will you pay me for this vial of liquid? My answer in my dying breath is going to be everything. I will give you everything. Any money, any dollar amount, anything that I have of any, value other than the people I love, I will give you all of it. And the ominous figure says, okay, great, here you go. But here's the catch. You're going to drink this liquid. It's going to not give you an additional day of your life back. It's going to take you to a random day of your life, and you have to relive every single moment the exact way you lived it and just be a passenger on the ride. You're going to smell the same smells, eat the same food, wake up at the same every little word out of your mouth, and the feelings, the sun hitting your skin, kissing your spouse, hugging your children, all of the good things. You can't do anything. You can't change anything. Here's the catch. And I go, done. Okay. But it's random. And you go all the way back to a point where you are looking at your phone. And you're standing there inside of your own brain watching as like a passenger in your own life. And you go, I'll do it tomorrow. And you get to watch yourself. Knowing everything you know on your deathbed, you get to watch yourself doing this again, and you can't change anything. That is my biggest fear, is looking at these little things that people just won't do, like press the record button, post something on you. Like YouTube now has YouTube Live. You don't even need to edit anything. Like literally, you can just put something up there right now. Would you give up everything just to go back to the day that you sat there and go, I'll do it tomorrow? And now you missed yourself actually making progress. And then what happens is you start seeing the domino effect of how it affected everybody that was sitting around you on your deathbed. Like how much better would their lives have been if you would have just taken that next stinking step? And so for me, I have no fear anymore, because I just kind of think of those types of things. Like, what are the things in my life that I'm so fearful of and I'm not taking action on? And would I be okay watching myself like a fly on the wall, sitting there watching myself procrastinate and push those off to the next day? Probably not. And so I actually posted a YouTube video 3-4 days ago that it was so clunky. And my team was like, hey, do you want us to edit that? I was like, no, it's perfect.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that whole, man, when I say like commit to it, it's so powerful. And that to me, I love that you said that at the end, Pace, because it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to commit to it. You have to commit to the whole
progress
thing.
over perfection all day long. Give me progress. Don't ever give me perfection. In fact, last thing I'll say, and I don't know if Heather wants to wrap this up. She probably is bothered because I just want to talk and hang out with her. But I was driving around the country in Texas the other day, and a couple months ago, and my videographer, Bobby, was in the driver's seat. I was in the back seat, and Jamil, my co-star, was in, passenger seat. Bobby leans over and he asked me, hey, Pace, why do you think you are more successful than other people? Or what is it about you that makes you more successful? And I go, I don't know, man. Maybe it was like my parents. Maybe like I just love to, my parents just taught me to be a good guy. I don't know, man. And then I really thought about it and I go, oh, I know the answer. I know the answer. This sounds so cliche, but the older you get and the more experience you get, you realize that cliche things are cliche for a reason. I said, dude, I literally don't even think about the destination ever. I literally just think about how much more fun can I have every day solving new problems, and how much more fun can I have hanging out with other people that are solving those same problems, and we just collaborate all day long. It's like I'm in high school all over again every single day, and I wake up energized, excited, committed, because I get to hang out with a really cool group of people. Like, that's why I love hanging out with you, Heather. You and I are doing the same thing. We get to talk about the same stuff. So people, if you guys are out there and you're not turning the camera on and you're not building your personal brand, I would say, how many successful YouTubers or how many successful content creators are in your immediate social network? The answer is probably zero. And you guys aren't spending time getting to know people in Facebook groups or spending time getting to know people in the YouTube comments on, Think Media's YouTube channel. That's where I would go. I've made friends there. I collaborate with people in video. Actually, Ryan Pineda, what's funny is Ryan Pineda and I will sometimes see each other in your guys' comments on Think Media, and we're like commenting on each other's stuff. I freaking love this, and I love what you guys are doing. You and Sean are truly some of my heroes, and you have made me and my 900 employees now millions and millions of dollars of revenue because you guys taught us how to get over the fear and how to actually go and make progress in our lives.
Oh my goodness. There's no better way to end that, Pace. That was incredible. Thank you so much for your time. I know that you could have been in 100 different places. Literally, Pace Morby actually could be in 100 different places right now. And you chose to be here on the Think Media podcast. I want to honor you, Pace, and just say thank you for showing others the path. Thank you for being just a righteous man who's going to step out and make this thing happen and to bring other people along with you. Thank you for being someone who will invest your time into what we're doing here and your kind words. I'm so honored to have you on. And I hope that everyone listening right now goes and follows Pace, not even just for the content of figuring out how he's doing personal brand, but because this man is a genius when it comes to understand real estate, creative finance. And if you want to be in the coolest community ever, it actually is Pace's community. So I want to make sure you go over and follow him on YouTube and on Instagram. And Pace, thank you so much for your time today. It really means the world to me that you would spend it with us here at the Think Media podcast.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Well, I hope you got value out of this episode. And if you want us to interview other entrepreneurs like Pace, let us know in the comments down on YouTube who else we should bring here on the show. And if you've not yet rated and reviewed the podcast in whatever country you're in and wherever you listen to it, you can do this over on Apple iTunes. And we love to be able to bring some of our Think fam here on the show to say thank you for leaving that review. Today's review comes from one of our international listeners, Jessica. She said, the best podcast for YouTube creators. I love the last episode with tips and principles for success from the Bible. So much wisdom. Thank you so much, Think Media. Well, thank you, Jessica, for listening in and being a part of our Think Media community. We're so incredibly grateful that you tune in every single week for these episodes. And thank you for rating and reviewing the show. If you've not yet shared this with a friend, maybe you know someone who's in the real estate space or is a service provider who needs to listen to this episode where Pace dives into all about growing their personal brand. I know you know someone, so share this episode with them. Thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here at Think Media. It means the world to us that you are here on this journey with us to grow your influence on YouTube and beyond. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.
Most important tip that I want to give about this first question is just like, don't put such an immense amount of weight on this very first deal that you're doing, because believe me, what you don't want to do is screw up a partnership with your dream brand.
Welcome to the Think Media podcast. My name is Heather Torres, and I'm the host of your show here, where we're helping you grow your influence on YouTube and then turn that influence into a high impact and a high profit online business. And if you're new to the show, I want to welcome you. And if you're returning and part of our Think Media fam, thank you for tuning in week after week. We drop a brand new episode for you every single Tuesday. And over on our YouTube channel, we actually have so many videos that we're uploading there that go along along with the podcast. So make sure you're subscribed over on YouTube as well as wherever you're consuming this content on. Now, every single week, we love to dive into a topic that's going to help you grow your YouTube channel. But today, it's going to help you grow your income. And that's because we are talking all about brand sponsorships. Have you ever been someone who wanted to figure out how do I get those brands to actually send me free things, but not just send you free product, actually pay to make content happen? How do you partner with them? What do you say? Are there things in the contract you should be aware of? And what are some of the mistakes that content creators make when it comes to actually partnering with brands? Over the last several years, we've partnered with a lot of different brands here at Think Media, grossing close to, well, over seven figures, close to almost multiple seven figures. And through those experiences, we've learned a lot. And part of what we learned are ways that we can actually increase our prices. And someone who helped us do that was our friend Justin Moore. He's going to be our special guest here on the show today. And I'm excited to bring him because he has such a wealth of experience working with brands. Justin Moore is actually a sponsorship coach and the founder of Creator Wizard. It's a school and community that teaches you how to find and negotiate your dream brand deals so that you can stop leaving thousands on the table. Along with his wife, April, he's been a full-time creator for over 8 years and has personally made over $4 million working with brands. He's also run an influencer marketing agency for over 7 years that's helped other creators earn an additional $3 million. Justin actually brings a very unique perspective because not only has he been a creator in the trenches doing the sponsorships for years, but he's also run an agency where he has insider knowledge behind how the big brands are choosing which influencers to partner with and why they pass on others. Now, Justin's mission is to enable creators big and small to land 1 million paid brand sponsorships by 2032. So if you want to jump into figuring out how to do this, lean into today's featured conversation with our special guest, Justin Moore. Well, Justin, welcome to the Think Media podcast. This isn't your first appearance on Think Media. You're an alumni now, so welcome back to the show.
When I said you need to have me on again, I didn't know it'd be so soon, but here I am.
So we had Justin on one of our Inner Circle trainings, which is one of our monthly coaching programs that we had here at Think Media, and he blew our students away, and we had the most requests to get Justin back on. So I thought no better place than bringing you over here to the Think Media podcast. And I'm so excited because we're going to be diving into how to get your first brand deal. You know, I think this is an elusive thing to a lot of creators of like, I know brands can pay me to do my content. I have no clue who to reach out to. How much do I charge? There's so many questions when you get started. So we're going to break all that down today. But Justin, I want to start at the very beginning because, you know, I talked about who you are and just the massive impact that you're having on Think Media, as well as on so many different content creators' income streams. And so take me back, though, to really the beginning. How did you even get into being someone who really understands this brand partnership world?
Yeah, it's a great question, Heather. So first of all, thank you. I appreciate that, those kind words. You know, from my perspective, like we had no idea what we were doing when we started out. I just want to make that very clear, okay? Right? So it's just like, you know, when my wife April and I started on, you know, she started her first YouTube channel in 2009. So way back in the day before there was a partner program, before you could make, she got rejected from the partner program 3 times. So it's not like we were like out the gates, had like 1 million followers and like we were making all this money. It's like, no, like we were just like the rest of us, we were floundering. We didn't know what we were doing, you know. Early on, like we were not being compensated. Like when brands reached out, it was free products, right? We were like, my wife in particular was so stoked to get this because her first channel was around makeup and beauty and cosmetics and so on. And so getting free makeup, Heather, makeup's expensive, isn't it? Right? It's like really expensive. And so the prospect of getting like hair tools and makeup and cosmetics and stuff, she was just like mind blown, like super excited just about that. And so that was like where we lived for a very long time. It wasn't just like, oh, we got a bunch of, you know, free, but it was like years of free stuff because remember, this is 2009, 2010, 2011, early days of YouTube and social media. Brands really did not get it. Like that was not so like, well, let's go pay content creators. Let's go pay YouTubers to like talk about us. For them, it was like in the early days, we were, had no idea what we were doing. And so we would talk, free products, send it over. Sure. We'll link it. We'll do all this stuff. Right. And so like the brands, they were seeing all these sales. They were seeing, we could see, Amazon associates like revenue and stuff. Like, so we definitely could see that, but it wasn't like people were compensating us like flat fees to like talk about them quite yet. Right. And so like for them, the beauty brands, I will give them credit versus a lot of other types of industries. They saw the direct correlation early. Like they were just like, we send this person free stuff, they talk about it and we make a bunch of sales. Right. So it's like to them, it was like they got it. And so those early conversations were, it was, we still had to do education, but eventually they were finally like, okay, we'll pay you $100. And we were like, yeah. So we were so stoked, right? Like we were so excited. Like, cause I was like, in the early days, we were young. We were, in our early 20s, like just graduating college essentially. So like a couple $100 was like super meaningful to us. It still is super meaningful, right? That's like your car bill or your groceries or like whatever, like your phone bill. It's like very meaningful even today, right? And so that the first thing I'll say is that, yes, like, early on when we were creators, I've been doing this a very long time. I just want to say like, it's really important to like, I am a big on not like being so hard on yourself with this type of stuff. Cause like, it's not like you can take a class about this, like now you can take my course.
No, you can.
Or you can't, there's no college classes. There's no, like none of it. You watch some YouTube videos or something, but it's like, not like there's like certifications or degrees you can get in this type of thing. And a lot of us are like, probably a lot of us listening to this are starting to make an income, potentially making a career for ourselves in this space. Right. And so that's the first thing I want to say is like, if you're a creator listening to this, don't be so hard on yourself. Like we made so many mistakes over the years, you name it. Like, one in particular was like, I remember we gave brands, we turned on the TV one time and we saw my wife's face, a clip from one of her YouTube videos in a TV ad. And we were like, did we let them grant them the rights to do that? Let me go look at the contract. Oh, yep, we sure did, just for free products, So it's like we've made every mistake in the book, and so a lot of the knowledge, and now I'm like educating creators around this whole process was from painful mistakes that we made along the way, and me just being like, I just don't want people to make these mistakes anymore. But then the other aspect is just that I have also run an influencer marketing agency for many years. Also on the other side of it is like I actually have now hired lots and lots of creators to actually do campaigns, of paid creators to be like, hey, go talk about this brand who was like our client. And it's just like a totally different perspective. And so that's where I come to it. It's like, you need to be professional. You need to be communicative. You need to be responsible. This is a business transaction when you are working with brands and advertisers. And so I kind of have these two different perspectives, and that's kind of what I bring to my content.
So good. And actually, one of the reasons why I geek out on your content, Justin, yes, I am part of the Creator Wizard community. Do you have a name for the Creator Wizards? Is that what we are? Just Creator Wizards?
Well, I would say I don't have a name. Let me show you my new merch though. Hold on.
Okay. Well, we don't have a name either,
I was thinking if you're on the podcast, you can't see this, but it's just, I have these new hats that say monetize. Mm-hmm. How dope is that? So I was thinking the monetizers, I don't know, I totally made it up. I don't know.
I'm in. Well, I am a monetizer then. And one of the reasons, Justin, why I wanted to bring your expertise to the podcast is because not only are you a creator who, if I can be humbled about your numbers, have made multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars from brands, right? And I mean, we're talking multiple, like, let's be real. But you've also helped other creators understand how to do this. And I think that's where your specialty has been so valuable for what we've even experienced here at Think Media. Like you said, no one teaches you these types of things as you're starting to grow your brand, you're starting to grow your YouTube channel, your personal brand is starting to explode. So I want to start with going back to that beginning first deal. We have a lot of content creators who we teach them how to grow their influence on YouTube, how to start monetizing using the YouTube partnership program. But then there's a lot of content creators who are ready to start making those brand partnerships. What does it look like? And let's start from the beginning of like, how do you even find brands that you want to work with?
I was seeing comments like it would be so much easier if there was an app that I could just stream into my TV.
The
mobile app is the whole point of having this. It's supposed to be on the go. You're supposed to be able to download the videos to your phone.
The app pays for itself, essentially.
I thought these people that have been, with me really deserve an upgraded experience.
Now with Uscreen, I'm wanting to use the app more because of how good it looks and how easy it flows. Notifications happening on all the time because women are providing feedback, asking questions, engaging on the community. It's exciting every time I get to open up my app.
When we launched Buttons Plus or Uscreen, right away, it exceeded my expectations.
Of like, how do you even find brands that you want to work with?
It's a great question. Okay, so the first hair that I would split about your first deal is whether you're the one pitching, right? So you're actually reaching out to a brand and saying, hey, I want to work with you, versus you getting an unsolicited inquiry into your email inbox, right? Maybe you put your email address in your about section on your bio or your, about tab on your YouTube community or your YouTube channel, right? So it's like, that's the very first and most important distinction to make, because in my experience, actually, it's the latter that happens to most creators. It's like they don't actually be like, I'm not big enough, I can't work with brands, so I'm not going to go reach out to them, right? Most people, it's just like, oh my God, I got this email, like, what, this brand wants to work with me? Like, oh, I don't know, what the heck do I do? I don't know what to say, I don't know how to negotiate, I don't know, blah, 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 right? And so, like, let's talk about that one, because I think that that's more frequent, right? Where it's like, I got an email in my inbox, what do I do now? I actually have a video on my channel called "A Brand Emailed Me, Now What?" Right? Because this is the thing that happens oftentimes, right? And so there's a couple things that you need to remember here, which is that number one, you have to respond, okay? You can't ignore it. I can't tell you how many creators I've talked to have just been so intimidated by the whole process that they literally just delete it or ignore it. And that blew my mind when I first heard that. But I can remember back to when I was, we were starting out, that it's intimidating. I totally get that. But the first and most important thing you need to do is just show a sign of life. Respond. Hey, this is super interesting. I'd love to hear more. Just something as simple as that. Just responding in a timely fashion. Ideally within 6 hours, ideally, max within 24 hours, though, would be great if you could respond and just say, tell me more. Okay, that's it, right? And then allow them to tell you more about the opportunity. Is it going to be how many videos? Is it going to be an integrated video? If it's going to be a dedicated video, like, just let them talk, right? And that's the first step, is because to some degree it is a fact-finding mission. You're kind of a detective. You need to let them talk a little bit, right? If you're comfortable hopping on a call, that would be even better. If they come to you and be like, well, we'd love to hear your perspective, and you'd be like, okay, let's just get on a Zoom and hash it out, right? But I get it. That might be a little intimidating as well if it's your first deal. And so the biggest perspective mindset shift I would have around this thing is that you are going to make mistakes. It's not like you're going to be flawless for your very first deal. And accepting that, I think, is really important, because then it gives you kind of the freedom and the liberty to be like, okay, this is kind of a test run, right? I just want to see what it's like interacting with the brand. They're going to send me the product. I'm going to make some content. I'm going to, maybe they're going to give me some feedback, some edits on it. I'm going to post it. Yeah, I'm going to make a few mistakes here and there, but I'm going to learn from it. Right. And that's the most important tip that I want to give about this first question is just don't put such an immense amount of weight on this very first deal that you're doing, because believe me, what you don't want to do is screw up a partnership with your dream brand. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's just iron out all those wrinkles the first time with some of these, lower tier brands, so that you can make some of these larger partnerships down the line work really well.
So good. All right. Recapping, Think Media podcast listeners, you have to respond. Okay. This is number one. You have to respond. And I love that you hit that, Justin, because we were working with a client and he was like, yeah, I've been emailed 6 times from these brands. And I'm like, 6 times? You need to respond, okay? So that's number one. Think Media Podcast, respond. And I love how you said that. And I can really tell you from experience of never working with brands and then working with brands. At first, you really don't actually know. And when you get on with them, they can actually explain to you what the campaign is. I want to talk about that a little bit, because a lot of times brands have budgets. Well, actually all the time, brands have budgets. And so what they're tasked to do, whoever's reaching out to you, what they're tasked to do is spend this budget money, and they're spending it on influencers, and you've been selected as one of those influencers. Now, I will say, Justin, there are scams out there, so you want to make sure that you are getting, it's legitimate. If it's a business, it's a business. That's what I always tell people. You'll know the difference between a non-business and a real business. But you want to hear their ideas. Talk about that for a minute, Justin, because I know you really have an insight in the idea that this is a cyclical thing for brands to be reaching out to creators. So if you mess up the first time, you could be on the cycle again, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I think that this is one of the number one mistake that creators make when they're doing their first brand deal is the brand reaches out and says, well, how much do you charge for a YouTube video or something? And the creator says, $500. They just make something up, right? I get it. You don't know in the beginning, right? But instead of saying that, use this magical phrase. You say, tell me what the goal of this campaign is. What is success to you? And they may tell you something that's very surprising. So, for example, perhaps they say to you, well, we really just love, your content. It's super high quality. We love, you're right in our niche. And we actually just really want to repost your video on our YouTube channel. Or we want to embed it on our website or something, right? Which is very different than we want you to talk about us on your channel. And we're hoping to drive sales from the link in the description box. That's a very, very different partnership. And if you hadn't have asked that, you probably would have pitched, well, one integration is this much and this type of thing, right? But by simply asking it that very easy question, you can completely change the dynamic of the relationship. Now you can pitch them, well, maybe I can create some content for your YouTube channel. I don't even post it, right? And that's going to be probably a lot more money. And the other thing that's really nice about that is that now your rate is completely detached from how many subscribers you have, right? Or what your viewership is like, right? Because that's not what the point of the campaign is that you're actually creating, you're a freelance content creator for them, right? The other thing to really important thing to remember is put yourself in the brand's shoes. Okay. If they are not hiring you to help them create content or spread the word for their brand, what are their alternatives? Mm-hmm. Well, they could go out and they could hire an agency, right? They maybe could hire a full-time employee to create the content for them. These are all things that are quite costly, right? So I don't encourage you to say, oh, hire me because I'm so much more cost effective than these other things. But it's just very important to have that mindset of don't shortchange yourself, right? $50 is not an adequate level of compensation for the work that you're putting in, editing the video, shooting it, doing all this pre-production and all this stuff, right? No, you have to value you have to understand the value that you're actually providing to the brand. And so just putting yourself in their shoes can be very helpful on your first brand deal to understand that you are worth actually quite a bit more than you think.
I started All Nation Restoration to help people. Chase for Business is literally what it says in the name. It is Chase for Business, where I can find everything I need in one place so we can help people get back to life.
Love your plugins but wish you had more scent control? Meet the Febreze Plug Scent Booster. Enjoy the same 50 days of continuous scent as Febreze Plug, including a cord for flexible placement options and a boost button for extra scent. Febreze Plug Scent Booster.
Well, I hope you're getting value out of today's featured conversation. And I wanted to let you know that if you're someone who's trying to figure out how to do YouTube, maybe you've been thinking about starting your channel, but you're just not ready yet. Well, today is your day. I want to invite you to a free class that I have called the How to Get to Your First 1,000 Subscribers on YouTube. Make your first $1,000 without fancy equipment, years of editing experience, or 50 hours a week to spend on your YouTube channel. I have a free class you can go to at thinkmasterclass.com to get signed up today to be a part of this creator revolution. There are over 425,000 full-time content creators happening right now, and you could be the next one. But you've got to figure out how to get to your first 1,000 subscribers to be able to unlock a lot of those monetary benefits. So if you want to figure out how to make some extra cash in this season with your YouTube channel, then this is the class for you. You can sign up at thinkmasterclass.com, and I'll see you over on that free on-demand YouTube class. Well, let's get back into today's featured conversation with our special guest. So good. All right. That was a review piece I wanted you guys to listen to. tell me what your goal is. That is so good because it does reframe even what the conversation is. And that actually is one of the best negotiation tactics to even know where the starting line is. So Justin, really good on that. When you are helping content creators and you're matching those content creators with brands, what are some negotiation things that content creators should be aware of when they're making that content? I know you said, turn on the TV and there's your wife's face. How do we even know in this world, like what should we be on the lookout for? What are some pieces that you're like, don't do that when you're in those negotiation phases of creating those brand deals?
So I've got I'm a big fan of frameworks, okay, and like acronyms and stuff. So I love making up my own. And so I have one that's actually very simple and can help you with your first brand deal, which is what I call the DO rule, which is DUE. Okay, and the D stands for deliverables. If you're trying to understand the dynamics of a campaign and they're reaching out to you, you have to understand, what are they actually asking you for, right? We mentioned at the beginning, like, is this going to be an integrated video or is this going to be a dedicated video? Those are actually two very different things that I would actually recommend. You should probably be charging 2 to 3 times the amount of money for a dedicated video that's talking all about this brand or this product, right? And so deliverables, you have to, a lot of times brands will reach out and just be like, oh, we just want to do a couple of posts and like collaborate. No, how many posts? Is it going to be 2 or 3 videos? Like, that's a big difference, right? You got to tell me. All right, so that's the do rule. That's the D in the do rule. The U is one that a lot of creators don't think about, which is the usage rights, okay? And what this is, that what does the brand actually want to do with your content beyond you posting it, right? Because it's one thing to post it on your YouTube channel, but do they want to embed it on their website? Do they want to repost it on their YouTube channel? Do they want to run like YouTube ads with your content? And if they do, for how long do they want to do it? Is this something that they're going to be running for 5 years, right? Where in essence, your name and likeness, as they call it, is going to be tied to this brand or this product for a long time. So it's something you absolutely need to be asking about and charging accordingly for. And then the E in the do rule is exclusivity, right? Are they actually going to be asking you to be exclusive to their brand or their product or their service for a certain duration? Because, there's an opportunity cost associated with that. If one of their competitors, approaches you 6 months down the line and you signed a 1-year exclusivity clause, then that's going to be challenging, right? And so that's like a very simple framework to use when it comes to trying to scope a potential partnership, and all of those factors you need to consider.
Okay, so content creators, I hope you were taking notes during that because you're going to sound so educated on your first deal already because you now have the do framework. That is the deliverables, the usage rights, and the exclusivity. And this is something that here at Think Media, we've learned from you, Justin. We went through your class. We took, the content that you have out there. And because of those things, we were able to double and sometimes triple our asking costs because of those specific things. They want to use our likeness. They want to use those videos in other capacities. And so we were able to negotiate additional fees of those things and increase the budget that we got from a brand just because of knowing that do rule. So thank you, Justin. I'll give a tip jar maybe one day. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm so thrilled to hear it.
I love it. Okay, so you mentioned something that I know is always a sticking point for those first-time content creators and brand deals, and that's the contracts, okay? No one teaches us all of this stuff, and I know sometimes that brands are working with multiple content creators, and they do have the upper hand of understanding contracts and what's in those. What are some tips you have for content creators in one, either making their own contracts if that's what the brands are asking, or 2, how to really go through those to know what they should be looking for in those deals?
A patient takes the proper preventive measures. We can keep our enamel for a lifetime. If patients use Pronamel Clinical Enamel Strength, it will actually help to protect the enamel for a lifetime. So I would recommend Pronamel Clinical Enamel Strength to all patients.
The history of winning started with 65 gators losing steam, losing sweat. The solution? A drink that hydrates better than water and changed the game forever.
Naturally, we called our stuff Gatorade.
I'm going to give a piece of advice that may be somewhat contrary to what other people might suggest. But I think it's a very, very important thing to understand as a creator, especially if you're thinking about doing your first brand deal, which is that I believe that you should go out and hire a lawyer to create a contract template for you, a boilerplate contract template for you, where the only thing that you change is maybe the last page, which is oftentimes called the appendix. And the only things that you're changing about the deal are the deliverables, right? The usage rights, the exclusivity. You're just like putting those in there based on whatever the brand is saying. And then you have that document, that boilerplate document that's kind of been blessed by a brand or blessed by a lawyer to be able to utilize if you need to. And the reason that I'm saying that that's so important for you to do now, even if you do not have a deal in hand, is because this is an investment in your creator business. If you were starting any other business, if you were starting a brick and mortar shop, there are costs of doing business, right? You have to buy the ingredients, you have to hire personnel, you have to do X, Y, Z. For some reason, a lot of creators be like, oh yeah, I'll buy a new camera, or I'll buy a new editing software, a new laptop, or whatever. That's an investment in my business. But hiring a lawyer to like have protect myself, like in the event that I'm going to go partner with brands, somehow that's like, no, I'm going to wait until I get a deal that like because I get it, right? Like sometimes, the deal's not a ton of money. Maybe it's $200 or $300 or something. And then if you have to hire a lawyer, well, there goes all your profit. You pay them for a couple hours and it's a net loss. But like, no, this is an investment in your business. So even if you do not have a deal in hand, I think it is a prudent thing to do as a creator to like invest. If you want to actually make an income doing this, being a creator, this is one of those investments, just like all that other equipment that you love buying, to formalize your own business.
I love that reframe because you're so right. We are easily drawn to the shiny object of the new lighting or the new thing, but it's kind of that back end business stuff that gets left behind. And I can tell you from knowing content creators who have had their likeness taken, who have had content, who have literally done the work for pennies that they could have been really making substantial income. I know, Justin, you've worked with content creators who have, because they've taken the right steps of understanding how to do this right, have made massive income from understanding brand deals properly, right?
100%. And I think that maybe this will be the point of the podcast where there's a little friction flying, Heather. But I actually have a very controversial stance, which is that you can actually make way more money on sponsorships than AdSense over the course of your career as a creator. I'm living proof of that with my wife and I's YouTube channel, right? And so the reason being is that I actually, here's an anecdote. I saw a pretty prominent creator share on Twitter recently that in the lifespan of their YouTube channel, it's like more of a micro creator, but like pretty prominent in their niche. They've made $7,000 on YouTube AdSense over like 2 or 3 years. And they just got one brand deal for $10,000. So if you can make a lot of money finding the right brand partners in one fell swoop, then all of this huge amounts of energy that you're putting out there to try to either get monetized on YouTube, which absolutely is a awesome goal, and you should definitely have it if, as part of your diversified creator business. It's a great income stream. But like, I think a lot of creators are just completely missing the boat and not even thinking about how much money you can actually make from sponsorships. Because again, going back to this whole thing about the value that you're providing brands, like they have the budgets to like get content, to partner with creators and get their name out there. And so I think it's just like a very important, again, a mindset shift around like, you don't just have to be making money from AdSense. There's lots of other ways in which you can do it.
Yeah, and I want to hit on that point too, because I think sometimes creators don't see actually the value that these brands are willing to pay for. And, when you go back to brands are willing to pay micro influencers. That's one of the specialties that you have, Justin, is understanding the micro influencer piece. Let's go down that path just a little bit, because I want people to start to see themselves not as just a YouTube creator, but like, what market are you actually impacting? And then how do you get the brands in that market to actually see you? What are some tactics as a micro influencer that you can do to actually get brands to see you?
So the number one piece of advice I can have to, about getting on brands' radar is to tag them. A lot of, like, when you're posting and post about them on social media, a lot of creators be like, well, if I post about them, why are they going to pay me for a campaign? And I'm just like, here's how it works. Let me walk you through it. Okay. Mm-hmm. When a brand decides that they want to run a paid influencer campaign, there is oftentimes, almost almost 100% of the time, there is going to be some sort of like promotion that they're running. Maybe it's a discount. Maybe it's the holidays. Maybe it's, 10% off. It's, use your code Justin20 for 20% off your first purchase. Whatever, there's something that there's a reason that they're running the campaign, right? When you're just posting about them organically on social media, are you seeing any of those talking points? Are you using the promo code? Are you doing any of that stuff? No, you're not doing any of that stuff because you're just sharing your authentic affinity for the brand or the product. And so this is like a giant, like mindset shift I need you to have around this, which is that this is the best way to get on the radar of the brand is to post about them. And then, oftentimes maybe this has happened to you. Maybe you tag them on Instagram or something like that. And then they, respond in your, stories or whatever. Oh, thank you so much for tagging me. Can we repost this on our, people get mad. They're like, oh, can we repost this on our page? And people will be like, no, they need to pay me. This is the perfect opportunity. You have your foot in the door now. They have shown you that they value you and your content. Now is the perfect chance to pivot this into a paid partnership. And you say, oh, thank you so much. Here's a template for you. Anyone listening, ready for a template? Here's a template. If this ever happens to you, you say, I'm so thrilled and honored that you like my content so much that you'd like to repurpose it. That actually, requires an investment. I would love to hop on a call. I have some other unique ideas that I could share about new content that I could create for you in addition to that. Are you free on Thursday at 1 p.m. to hop on a call? That's what you say. And here's another template. If they repost your content without your permission, you don't say, how dare you take this down? I'm going to contact my lawyers. No, you say, I'm so honored that you loved my content so much that you wanted to repost it. That requires an investment. Can you let me know the budget you've set aside to secure those rights? I'd love to hop on a call at Thursday at 1 p.m. to discuss some other ideas I have, right? So you don't go into it indignant. You go into it viewing this as an opportunity to get paid.
Oh, I'm over here just wanting to jump up and down, Justin, because you're speaking like a business owner. And if there's one quote that I love so much, it's Jay-Z. I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man. And you partnering with brands, it's your likeness, it's your content, it's the effort that you're putting out there. And this is a rising economy. If there's one thing that is happening right now, it's brands understanding that normal TV commercials not working, that normal advertising not working. You know where people are? They're in their apps. They're in social media. They're on YouTube. And last question that I want to talk about is the idea of turning one video into a multiple video type content. Meaning when you're negotiating and they're asking for one thing, how do you ask for more? Oh, is it on YouTube only? Or do you also want Instagram? Oh, is it how do you expand to ask for more money?
Okay, so let's talk about the reasons that a brand would pay you to make actually more content, okay? So just like what you said earlier, Heather, which is that brands have these budgets and they have to spend it, right? They got to pay creators. They have this budget allocated for them for this particular quarter or for this particular month, right? So when a brand reaches out to you, they're not just working with you. They're working with probably 5 other creators, 10 other creators, 25, 50, 100 other creators sometimes, these big campaigns, right? And so what does that actually mean? Put yourself in the brand's shoes. That means that they have 5, 10, 25, 50 other email threads that they have to manage, 50 other personalities, 50 other contracts that they have to deal with. And so when they come and ask you if you can make one video, what you are saying to them when you say, hey, you know what? I know you only asked me for one, but I can actually make 5 videos for you. In their mind, they're thinking wow, well, I can just hire Heather now for this, and I don't have to worry about working with 4 other creators, 4 other email threads, 4 other contracts. She's going to make my life easier. Okay, sounds good. I'm going to pay Heather 5 times the amount of money, right? So it's not just about oh, let's add on to this and let me give you a discount for no, you're not. You don't give them a discount. Stop giving them discounts. You're not a discount creator, okay? The reason that they're going to go with you for these other packages that you're providing to them is because you're making their life easier. Okay. And yes, there may be some situations where, maybe you want to, if it's a longer term deal or whatever, maybe there's some sort of, pricing concession, but that's not what you lead with. You don't be I'm going to give you a discount. If that's the one thing that you learn from me and my content and all this stuff is as a creator, stop negotiating against yourself. Oh, I normally charge 2,000, but I could do it for 1,000. Like before the brand ever says like our budget is 1,000, right? You're so excited for the deal. You negotiate against yourself. You're giving discounts. Just stop doing all that because you're worth it. You have value.
Yeah.
Stop providing discounts if the brand's not asking for it, please. And so again, when it comes down to extending the deal, the one final caveat that I want to give about this potential thing is that it's a lot easier to convince a brand to do a long-term partnership with you after they've had some experience working with you on one deal.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be somewhat difficult to convince them to do a 6-month or 12-month deal with you right out the gates. But if you do one deal, you're very responsive, you're very professional, the content is super high quality. You provide a post-campaign report, which is something I teach in my course, right? You do all these things where you're like a business, I'm a businessman, right? So it's you do all those things, then they're gonna be like, okay, let's hire him for a 6-month retainer thing, right? So it's I know everyone wants these kind of longer term deals, but it's just the reality. They're not gonna, they've been burned too many times from creators who are not professional, who are not communicative. And so they need to have a little bit of experience working with you to be able to justify doing something like that.
Running a creator business is overwhelming. Constant content creation, community management, juggling of platforms, and unpredictable income. There has to be an easier way to monetize through memberships. Enter Uscreen. Hands down, the best all-in-one membership platform designed specifically for video creators. We help you generate consistent subscription revenue without losing your mind, with powerful monetization features, easy distribution across devices with a branded membership site and apps, sleek video organization and streaming capabilities, and community tools built to engage and retain more customers. Uscreen gives you the power to connect with your audience like never before, and the VIP treatment from our team of experts on hand to help you every step of the way. To make consistent, reliable revenue while keeping full control of the brand and business you've worked so hard to build. Start your membership journey with Uscreen today.
If you're making a to-do list today, make it easy on yourself. Just write down Reese's. Then write down eat them. And then you're kind of done for the day. JK, try Caramel Big Cup too.
To be able to justify doing something like that.
So good. So many nuggets right there. 1, don't lower your price. Okay. Don't lower your price. And then 2, be professional. If there's one thing that I wish more content creators would do in this industry, it's to be a business, is to put your business hat on and think, how would you want to be treated? How can you support the brand? And I can tell you from being the type of content creators that have gone above and beyond, we send Christmas gifts to our brand representatives. We know their kids' names. We do that because we want to be in partnership with them for a long time. And because of being able to be someone that's professional, that offers those things, we've secured brand deals where they've never paid creators that amount of money because they know that they can trust us to be good representations of their brand in that partnership. So Justin, oh my goodness, so many nuggets. If you want to go deeper with you, Justin, where should they go? How do they get involved? If they want to know the next step with you, what's the best way to do that?
All right. Well, the top thing that I would really, really, really recommend everyone listening to this to do would be to join my newsletter, because I literally every single week, it's a free newsletter. I send you paid sponsorship opportunities in the newsletter every single week. Okay. So you're definitely I also share videos and about pitching tips and all that stuff. So if that's interesting to you, just go to creatorwizard.com/join. And then, I have, I'm on YouTube, TikTok, pretty much everywhere at Creator Wizard. And this is all I talk about, y'all. I don't talk about anything other than sponsorships and brand deals. So I know you guys love talking about, finding your niche on Think Media. And so this is my niche. This is all I talk about. So if that's something that you think sponsorship should play a role in your